Welcome back to an exciting video, and what we're doing today in our guitar lesson series is we're doing the major and the minor chords from the 1st to the 5th fret, also pretty much known as the open chords. So we're getting started. I've already got 2 videos out, and one where I'm explaining the circle of fifths and the keys. Those are very important things that you need to know if you're going to play any instrument. I don't care what you're playing, you have to understand the theory behind what you're doing. Because like I've said 1,000 times, if you do not understand why you're playing what you're playing, then you're just arbitrarily playing things. So we started off with the keys and the circle of fifths, so we can go ahead and get that little bit of understanding out of the way. Now, if you noticed on my YouTube channels, there's a new button on there called Join. A lot of these videos are going to be on my YouTube channel, but some of these will be for private only. You have to join in order to see some of them. And what those videos are going to be is they're going to be a deeper dive, things that take a little bit more explanation and a little bit more understanding. Now you can join on my YouTube channel or you can join on my Patreon page, either one. They cost the same exact money no matter which way you do it. And the tier for this is the $6 tier, which on YouTube is $5.99 for whatever reason. And that gives you access to all these other videos that I'm going to be doing that are going to be much deeper into it. They require a bit more work on my part, and I just got to go a little deeper so you can understand, because what I don't want to get into is just a situation to where I'm just showing you this. All right, those are the chords. Take off. Okay, well, why are those the chords? What makes those chords the way they are? And that's where the theory comes in. And a lot of that stuff will be on my subscription base on either YouTube or on my Patreon page. Now, the great thing about that is, first off, it's much cheaper than getting private lessons from Guitar Center or wherever, where you're probably going to pay $50 per lesson, which is going to be, $200 a month. This is $6 a month. And the good thing about it is you can jump in and join as long as you want. You can stay and learn everything, or you can jump out, jump in, jump out, jump in. However you want to do it. You're not committed to anything. And it's much easier doing it, obviously, sitting in your house and doing it. It's much easier to go that route. And you can go back if you join and look at these videos as many times as you need to. Because some of these videos might be a little long when we really start breaking things down and getting into the understanding of how things work. So on that note, we're going to quit talking about that. Please subscribe to my channel. And like I said, a lot of these videos will be on my regular YouTube channel. So if you don't want to join, you will still get a lot of information. But if you want to get more information, then you can join. All right, now we're going to quit talking about that. So we're going to get started. And like I said, we're going to take this back to the very beginning, and we're going to bring this down to where as if you've never played guitar before. And that's why I went over the keys in the circle of fifths. So what we're going to do is basically these are called the open chords, what we're getting ready to go through now, but there are some of them you have to bar off just to make them correct. You can't play everything open all the time. And that's why I said from the first, well, from 0 actually, from open to the 5th fret. We're going to be going over the chord structure right now. So let's get started. So we're going to do this in A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We're going to take those notes. Sorry about the squeaky chair. I've got to replace this freaking thing. There it goes. So we're going to start on A. All right, so here we go. Let's knock this thing out of the ballpark and get this part over with. So, starting at A, the first thing we're going to do is we're always going to do major, then minor on all these chords. And there's going to be 2 for each one, obviously, 1 major, 1 minor. We're not going to get into 7ths and 6ths and all that stuff in this particular video. That's a little bit down the road. So, starting off in A, and the way I'm going to denote this is instead of constantly saying, 1st string, 3rd fret, what I'm always going to do is say string, then fret. So if I'm holding the fret on the 5th string, 3rd fret, it's going to be 5-3. That is 5-3. 5th string, 3rd fret. And the way the strings are ordered, just in case you don't know, is you actually read them from high E to low E. So it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I say 3rd string, 5th fret, that's going to be right here. not here, right here. So this is the third string, 1, 2, 3, and this is the 5th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you understand. If I say 3, 5, it's going to be 3rd string, 5th fret. All right, so let's get started. So when we're doing an open A chord, now there are lots of ways to play A chords on the neck. We're only going to do these open ones, the ones below the 5th fret, without getting into, like I said, the 7ths and all that stuff. We're just doing just the major and the minor, root, 3rd, and 5th. So here we go. Starting here, what we're going to have is 5 is going to be open. Open means you don't press any strings. It's simply an open string. 5 is going to be open. We're going to take our first finger, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to take our first finger and we're going to go 4, 2. Going to take our next finger and we're going to take our second finger and we're going to go 3, 2. Our next finger, 2, 2. 2, 2. And then this bottom string is going to be open. That is an E. And then if you strum these 5 strings, that is an A major. Now if you notice, this string here, this open string, is an E. And the E just happens to be the 5th of an A. Well, this is an E also. Can't we just do this? Well, realistically, you could. You could play all 6 strings. But that puts the 5th on top. And that kind of takes away from our tonal center, which we want to be a little more on the dominant side, which is going to be this A. So if we play it starting here at the 5th string, you hear that A dominance, as opposed to starting up here and playing the 5th. You kind of lose that A dominance. So that's why we only play those 5 strings. All right, now we're going to play the minor. Now all we have to do to play the minor is we move the 3rd down 1/2 step. And more on that coming up in other lessons. Right now we're just doing basic chord structure. So the 3rd, which just happens to be right here at 2, 2, we're going to move this down 1/2 step. So the steps on a guitar, if we move from here, this dotted 3rd, up here to this dotted 5th fret, that's 1 whole step. We got to take 2 half steps to get there, or 2 semitones. So a half step is this. A whole step is this. So what we do is we move this 3rd down 1/2 step. And then we play the same 5 strings. That gives us A minor. And what we have here, starting we have our 5 open. Here we have 4, 2, 3, 2. Now we have 2, 1. And then this bottom E, number 1, is open. This gives us A minor. A major, A minor. And you can definitely hear the minor tonality and the major tonality of the 2 chords. The major sounds a little more uplifting. The minor sounds a little sadder. And I hate using the word sadder because that's what everybody says. It is so cliche. Oh, minors are sadder sounding. To me, it just sounds a little more angrier. A little more. So that is A. So now we're going to move on to B. Now, when we're playing a B major, all right, this is where we pretty much have to bar chord this one off. Now, what do I mean by that? When we're playing a bar chord, you take your finger and you will press it across multiple strings and get them to sound off. Now, if you're just starting to do this, you'll probably have some issues because you can tell your finger is not exactly flat. You have these little thing called joints, and in those joints, you got these little impressions. And if a string seems to fall inside there, the string's going to do this. So what I do is when I'm barring, I kind of roll my finger over a little bit, and I'm playing like right here at about on a 30-degree angle of it. So if my finger's straight, I will roll it just a little bit on the side to try to get rid of some of these ridges and where in the fatty part of the finger where the tuft is. I will roll it onto the side. And then press hard enough to make sure all the strings ring out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play, and this is going to be a little hard at the beginning. And a lot of people, when they first start teaching guitar, they do not teach a B for the reason that it is so hard to fret. But you know what? You might as well start now and start getting into the habit and getting the muscle memory down of how to do these chords. So if we're doing a B like this, we can strum all 5 strings again, starting on string 5. And what we've got starting right here is we got 5-2. Next finger, and that's with 1. Next finger is going to be 4-4, 3-4, 2-4. You have to stack these 3 all in the 4th fret, and that is a little tough. And then barring this off, we're back here, and now we have 1-2. And that gives us a B major. Now you can also, you do not have to play this this F sharp on the E string or on string 1. You don't have to play this if you choose not to. Again, this is the 5th right here. And so if we eliminate this string and just don't even pick it, we still have here a root 3rd and 5th, which still gives us B major. So we really don't have to play string 1 here. We can just lift that up, and it is still a B major. Now, going to a B minor here again, we have to lower the 3rd a half step. The 3rd just happens to be here again. Well, why? The 3rd's in the same spot as it was on the A, here. Well, that is true. And not all chords work this way. It is this way because we're playing a B major, but we're playing off of an A major shape. This is the A major shape, the open bar chord right here. And the reason I say an open bar chord, because instead of using our finger to bar, actually that's what the nut's doing here. The nut is barring this off for us. So an A major would, if we had to bar it off, would look like this. But since we have the nut here doing that job for us, we don't need that finger there. But when we go up to the B major, now we have to take this nut, make our finger the nut, and now press all these strings down. But since we're playing in an A major shape, that means our 3rd is here again on the 2nd string. So all we have to do is lower the 3rd a half step. And this gives us a B minor. So again, starting on the 5th string, we're at 5-2, 4-4, 3-4, we're at 2-3. Then of course, our E string is 1-2. And the same thing applies here. We do not have to play this F sharp right here. We can simply play these 4 middle strings. And that has all the ingredients to make the triad of B minor. So we have B major and B minor. Now if you choose not to play the string 1 on B major, you can actually just do it with 2 fingers and just bar off strings 2, 3, and 4 with your 3rd finger, and then reach up and grab the 5th at the 2nd fret and play those 4 strings in the middle. Me personally, I've gotten in a habit of just stacking these 3 into the same fret. So we have B major and B minor. Okay, moving on to C. Now C is an open chord, and this is another one of those chords that moves up, that moves up the fretboard. It's in the C shape. And what I mean by that is this is a C, but I could also play a D, and you can see here I'm still using the C shape, but my finger is now becoming the nut by moving it up. So we have a C. And a C, that's a chord that's pretty easy to fret. And pretty much anybody who knows anything about guitar knows what a C and a G is. So we have 5-3 with your 3rd finger. We have 4-2 with your 2nd finger. Right here, the 3rd string is open. And then we have 2-1 with your 1st finger. then the bottom string, string 1, the E is open. And that is an C. All right, now we're going to do a C minor, but now we got a problem here. If we do a C minor, we got to move this third down a half step. Okay, so could we do that? Well, not really from here. I mean, you could. You hear that clash? The problem is we have an E right here also, which would have to be moved down a third step. And we can't do that because we're up against the nut. Now, we could just play, again, these 4 strings in the middle. That is a C minor. But nobody really plays it this way because it's a difficult fingering. So what we do is we go back up here like we were playing that B minor, the same exact way we were playing the B minor, and we move it up 1/2 step. So what we've got here is a C minor. So we're playing our C major here with our C shape. But when we go to play the C minor, we're using our A minor shape. And then we have our C minor. On our first finger here, finger number 1, we're going to go 5-3. Finger number 3 is going to be 4-5. Finger number 4 is going to be 3-5. Finger number 2 is going to be 2-4. And like I said, you can bar it off and press the first string with the bottom of the finger and just bar off 1 through 5 and play the C minor. But there again, you can still play just the middle 4 strings if you're having a problem getting used to barring off all these strings. Now, you can also, remember how we did the B major here? Or you can also do a C major the same way. Listen. Same exact notes, same exact everything. C major, C major. Now I'm only playing 4 notes here. Just like we were doing the B major, raise it up a 1/2 step, and you go into the C major right there. Now we can, of course, choose not to bar that bottom one off, the first string, and just play the middle 4. And we have a C major there also. So you can play a C major between the frets of open and 5. You can play C major here or C major here. You see most people play it here, especially for acoustics. Very seldom do you see people actually playing C's here. But C minors, they are going to play here. All right, moving on to D. D is a fantastic chord, and I love writing music in D. There's a lot you can do with this little chord. So D, we're only using the bottom 4 strings, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And D, how we're going to finger this, is we're going to use fingers 1, 2, 3. Starting, we got an open D string, 4 is going to be open. First finger here, we're going to put down 3, 2. Third string, 2nd fret. Third finger is going to go 2, 3. And your middle finger, finger number 2, is going to go 1, 2. And we're only going to play these 4 strings. And this is going to give us D major. And one of the things I love about D major, this is for a different video, but I'm just going to show you how these little simple chords can create absolutely beautiful things. And I'm not going to get into the chords that we're actually playing here or an explanation of them, but we're going to start at a D major. We're going to go to a major 7, to a D7, to a 6. Just by moving 1 string. Listen. Just from moving 1 little string in that simple D chord makes all these beautiful sounds. absolutely beautiful. And that's coming up in a different video. So this is our D major here. So if we're going to make this a D minor, well, we got to move the third down a half step, which in this case is an F sharp. So we take our position here and we're going to flip 2 fingers around, which they're going to play strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. But we're going to take finger 2 and we're going to put it up on 3, 2. We're going to move finger 1 and we're going to put it down on 1, 1 and play the same 4 strings. Minor, D major, D minor. By moving the third down a half step. All right, now we're going to move on. Now we're going to go to E. All right, so in E major, you know our A minor position here. We played an A major, played our A minor. Well, it's the same fingering, we just lift everything up 1 string. So we're going to go from here, we're playing these 5 strings. We're going to move everything up 1 string, and now we're going to play all 6 strings. And that gives us an E major. So our fingering on this is 6 is going to be open. We're going to be 5, 2, 4, 2. We're going to be 3, 1, then open, open. And this gives us an E major. Now to make an E minor on this, it's very simple. We lower the third, right here. We lower this a half step just by lifting our finger off. And then we keep these 2 fingers in the same place, and now we have an E minor. E major, E minor. All right, moving on. Now we're going to go to F. Now F is another one of these chords. It's another one of these chords. You can play the F major 2 ways, even though one is just simply a derivative of the other. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So if we're playing an F major, we can play it on these 4 strings right here. And what we've got here, starting here, on our 3rd finger, we are at 4, 3. On our 2nd finger, we are at 3, 2. And we got to take this 1st finger and we got to bar off 1 and 2 in the 1st fret. And this gives us an F major. Now, you see people playing this. I don't see that many people playing an F this way. I mostly see them playing the F major bar chord. And remember what I said, one's just a derivative of the other. This is an F major. And there again, if we take our E major shape and we slide it up 1 half step, this puts us into the F major. But since we're here at E major, this is called an open chord. Our nut is barring off the strings for us. So when we go to an F major, now we have to do it this way. And using our fingers, essentially like moving this nut up a half step to raise the entire chord. E major, F major. Okay, so what we've got here, starting with the 1st finger, we're at 6, 1. Finger number 3 is going to be 5, 3. Finger number 4 is going to be 4, 3. Finger number 2 is going to be 3, 2. Then we take our 1st finger and we bar off these last 2 strings, F major. Now, I'm going to show you what I was talking about, the derivative of the 2 chords. Now to make this a minor, all we do is simply move this 3rd down a half step. So we just lift up finger number 2. And that gives us minor. F major, F minor. Now, if we're playing the F down here, like I was sitting there talking about, this is only the bottom half of this. If we lift up our 1st finger and we just bar off these 2 here, and this is just, you wouldn't play it this way, but this is to show you what I'm talking about. And then we lift off our 3rd finger, this is the F major. But instead of using this pinky here, we would actually use our 3rd finger to give us F major. Like I said, it's just a derivative. It's just the bottom half of this chord here. So if this is the case, in order, if we're playing it this way, to make this minor, again, all we do is lift up finger number 2. Now we're minor. We lowered that third down a half step. Major, minor. All right, so now we're going on to G. Now, playing a G chord, everybody in the world knows what a G chord if you've ever held a guitar. This is probably one of the most famous cowboy chords in the world. And you've heard 10,000 songs that have started on G. You can't count how many songs you've heard that played to. Oy. So bad. It's so bad. But you have to know the chord. So this is a G chord. We're playing all 6 strings. And how we fret this one out is we're going to take our second finger and we're going to put it on 6-3. We're going to put our first finger on 5-2. We're going to, string 4 is going to be open, string 3 open, string 2 open, and we're going to take finger number 3 and we're going to put it on 1-3. Now you see people playing it this way, or they'll use these 3 fingers here. For some people, it's easier to do it this way. Same exact thing, we're just using fingers 2, 3, and 4 instead of fingers 1, 2, and 3. I am a 1, 2, and 3 player, but I see a tremendous amount of people playing it this way. All right, so here we have a G major. Okay, so now let's say we wanted to play a G minor. Well, could we do this? Because we lowered the third a half step. Here's our major third. Here's our minor third. So why isn't this working? Hear that? Because our major third is a B. If we move this down a half step, we're moving it to a B flat. Well, we have an open B right here. We can't move it down a half step because we're up against the nut. So, theoretically, you could play a B minor and just mute this B off right here with the tip of your pinky. You could do this. Kind of hard to fret though. So what do? Well, we play it here. Remember how we played the E major? Then we played the F major. Sorry about that. If we take that up a full step, now we're playing a G major. And what we have here, starting at the first finger, we're at 6-3. Then we're at 5-5, 4-5. With the middle finger, we're at 3-4. Then we use the bottom half of your first finger to bar these 2 off. That gives us G major. G major. G major. Well, how can these be the same if they're fretted differently? Because a chord is made up of 3 notes, a triad. You have a root, a third, and a fifth. It doesn't matter where you get these notes from. You can play them anywhere. And it's the same chord as long as it contains those same 3 notes of that root, third, and fifth. And when I say root, third, and fifth, I'm talking about intervals. If we're playing in the key of C, the key of C, C being the root, the third would be, well, E, C, D, E. And if you count up 2 more, E, F, G, the G is a fifth. So you have C, E, and G that make up a C chord. So as long as you play those combinations of notes, anywhere on the fretboard, it's still a C chord. Well, that works that way for every single chord. If this is a G, the root, third, and fifth, well, it's all the same chord notes as playing this. It's still the same exact notes. We're just changing the position of the notes. But it's still all roots, thirds, and fifths in the chord of G. And here again, to play G minor, all we do is simply lift up. We move the third down a half step. And that gives us G minor. G major, G minor. So real quick, we're going to do a very fast refresh over the major minor chords in all 7 notes. All 7 chords, I'm sorry. So we have an A major, A minor, B major, B minor, C major, And now these that I can put 2 chords in under the 5th fret, I'm going to do that so you have good understanding. C major, C major. Like I said, same chords, the same root, the same thirds, and the same fifths. We're just changing the order a little bit. C minor, D major, D minor, E major, E minor, F major, F major, F minor, F minor, G major, G major, G minor. And if you notice, all the chords have a lot of things very in common. When we're playing the E major, we play the F major, we're still playing that E major shape. F major, up a full step, G major. And it works out with A major, B major, C major. And we're using that A major shape. We're just changing where we're playing it at. We're changing our frets. 2nd fret. Now this will move to the 4th fret and we bar off strings 1 and 5 in the 2nd fret. Now this moves up to the 5th fret and we bar off strings 1 and 5 in the 3rd fret. And that gives the C major. So those are all the chords that we're going to get started with. And it's very important you learn these because all the music in the world is centered around these chords. Now, granted, there are variations. There's lots of variations. There's, augmented 5s and 6 chords and 7th chords and major 7 chords. There's 9 chords, 11 chords, 13 chords. There's a tremendous amount of variations on these chords. But these chords are the basis for everything we're going to do. Now, this is going to be geared more towards electric guitar. It's not going to be a bunch of mambo jumbo boring chord work, but this is where we've got to get started, because as we're moving through all this part here, we're going to start getting into theory and scales as we move along. Now, more of that will be a lot more of that part. The deeper dive, like I said, will be either in my YouTube memberships or on my Patreon page. You can join either one there. They're the same price. Patreon is $6. YouTube is $5.99. Don't know why, again, YouTube does $5.99. But for a deeper dive on these lessons, you can jump over and join to that. And there's going to be a lot of information you're going to be able to get there that you're not going to be able to get on the regular YouTube channel. So I'm going to wrap this part of it up right there. So whatever instrument you play it to the best of your ability. And like the great Sammy Hagar says, if you miss the beat, you lose the rhythm and nothing falls into place. For a deeper dive on what we just did, jump over to my members section on YouTube or my Patreon page where you'll find the rest of the information. And until the next video, rock on.